What's up, you guys? It's Cody. I'm back in my Airbnb filming this video. Well, because my Airbnb is empty. We've had a full month's worth of cancellations just this week, worth almost $1,600. Everybody's canceling because of this outbreak that we've got going on, and we lost out on about 4 different reservations, like I said, totaling almost $1,600. So unfortunately this place is empty, and I'm here filming because I can't go to the office either because my office is shut down. And even though I work by myself there, they've basically shut down the whole building as preventative measures. So I'm here at home filming in my Airbnb, talking to you guys a little bit about what is going on and what direction the Airbnb is going to be taking with the current situation, what I'm going to be doing with this place here. So we are actually going to be converting this place to a long-term tenant because of the cancellations and because we haven't received not one single additional booking in the last 3 weeks. We're moving this over to a long-term rental. So I'm really happy that we've got that option to do that with this place here because it gives us the flexibility of being able to do the short-term rental if we choose, or convert it over to a long-term rental. Now, the thing that you need to know about that is we are offering it as either an unfurnished unit or a furnished unit for this place in particular. And you know, while it's unfortunate that we do have to do this, I can't really blame anybody given the current circumstances. You know, it is what it is, and this is why you have to have a backup plan. You have to have an exit strategy when it comes to real estate. You always want to have multiple options because you don't want to get stuck in a position where, you know, you're going to be underwater, or you're covering payments that you weren't planning on, or doing something that you weren't expecting. So unfortunately, I do know a lot of people who are currently in the middle of flipping houses right now, or they've got hard money, loans on these properties, and they're kind of freaking out thinking, what am I going to be doing with these properties? What am I supposed to do with these loans if the real estate market doesn't continue to go up like I was anticipating? This is kind of one of those things that you have to do. Like I said, have multiple strategies so that you have options if the market doesn't work out in your favor. This is one of those things that nobody can predict, and so you have to be ready for it. The number one way of doing that is by having huge margins, or at least margins that really make sense in your fix and flip deals, or in your rentals, or in any property that you buy. You don't want to go into a property, buying it, and expecting that you're just going to, count on the appreciation of the property over the next couple months. This is how you build confidence in your deals and also have built-in equity when you go straight into the deal to know that you're going to be okay regardless of what happens. This is also the importance of having cash flow in your properties, because if you do have a situation like this where you can't do Airbnb and you have to switch over to a long-term rental, is it going to make sense? You know, there's also a lot of people who have been doing Airbnb arbitrage, where they'll basically set up a master lease on a property that's for rent. They'll pay the landlord rent every month. The owner or the rentee then goes in and pays to get the place furnished, and then they're going to list it on Airbnb and collect whatever the difference is. So they might be collecting, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month on this property, and they're only paying, let's say, $1,500 per month in rent to the owner. Now, this is a great business model. There's definitely a lot of money to be made, but in this exact situation, these people are getting absolutely clamored. They're getting destroyed right now because nobody is booking these properties. If I was doing that on this property here, I would have absolutely no income coming in to cover the cost of what I have for expenses on this property. Now, luckily for this Airbnb, I do own this place. I live upstairs and we rent out this place. So far, it has been on Airbnb, but like I said, going long term, that is one of the things you have to be careful with Airbnb arbitrage, is because you can get absolutely destroyed if you don't have those bookings coming in. So there's a lot of risk with that. It's definitely not my business model. This is something I looked into pretty heavily about 3 or 4 months ago because I thought it sounded like a great idea. There's definitely a huge amount of scale that you can put into it there, but for this exact reason, I'm pretty grateful that I didn't do that. So jumping back to this property, like I said, I'm fortunate that I live upstairs, and so this is a place where we've never counted on having this basement rented in order to cover the mortgage. We've just done that because we like to live for really cheap and spend that money elsewhere. So it's been really nice. We've never counted on the income that this property brings in, but of course we do want to maximize it so that the rest of our financial portfolio can be in really good standing because of what we're bringing in here on this place. So as mentioned, we're gonna offer this as either a furnished place or an unfurnished place. If it's furnished, it's gonna be $18.50 per month for everything included. That includes utilities and internet. That's gonna include all of the furniture, of course, for their use. And it's pretty big space. I mean, it's 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,800 square feet. It's got a separate dining area. It's got a separate breakfast nook. There's a ton of space here that really makes it usable. If it's gonna be unfurnished, we're offering it for $1,500 a month. Again, just because of how the utilities and the internet are set up, we're not gonna be doing this as we're not gonna be billing the utilities back to the tenant. We just do everything included. So if this place were, if they were to pay their own utilities, we'd probably get maybe $13.50 a month in rent. But because we're including all those utilities, we're charging $1,500 a month for this place. The other benefit to having a fully remodeled place that's in a nice neighborhood is we expect to get this place rented out pretty quickly. A couple benefits that this place has that a lot of other basement apartments don't have is that this place has built-in laundry. It's got laundry hookups, and it has off-street parking that's dedicated for the tenants. So we're expecting to get this place rented pretty quickly. We've got a couple people already inquiring, even though I just listed it yesterday. So we've got people already inquiring about the property, and we should have it rented out before the 1st of April. So this is gonna help us maximize our income, and we're not gonna miss out on any lost rent that we would have expected. Of course, it will be a little bit just because we did unfortunately lose out a lot on the Airbnb side, but we're fortunate that we'll be able to collect on that when a new tenant moves into this place. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are wondering, how long is this Airbnb outage gonna last? How long are people not going to be traveling? How long should I really plan for to cover my expenses until this comes back? Like I said, I think that there's a lot of people who are doing the arbitrage model, and unfortunately, they're gonna end up in a pretty tough spot if they haven't been putting money away for this type of experience. This is a once in a lifetime type thing, I think, where basically the whole travel industry gets shut down because of the outbreak that we've had. And it's something that's kind of hard to plan for. So hopefully people have been responsible in this matter, and they're putting money aside, or we're putting money aside for this exact thing, so that they don't end up underwater, don't end up ruining their credit, don't end up screwing people over. This is one of those things that can be, you can really lose your shirt pretty quickly when you've got thousands of dollars of rent or a mortgage that's under your belt that you're having to pay every single month. You need the income to cover those expenses. There's one other thing that I think is really important with this, and that's to consider that now might be the time to take advantage of the opportunities that are coming. If you watched my last video about opportunities that are going to be coming onto the market, of course I mentioned that the stock market was the #1 opportunity to take advantage of as this outbreak passes and as the economy rebounds, assuming that it doesn't totally fully crash. The second opportunity is going to be that there's going to be a lot of properties that are coming onto the market. I've been thinking about this a lot this past week, and I'm starting to realize that there's going to be a lot of homes coming onto the market that people can either no longer afford or no longer want. The first of these properties that are going to hit the market are going to be secondary homes. This includes houses that are on the lake, this includes cabins, this includes vacation homes. So if you're in one of those areas, you should expect to see these homes start to pop up on the market as people are no longer able to afford them. There's no bigger incentive to sell your property other than a global pandemic and realizing that you can't cover the mortgage on your property anymore. So if you're in the market for one of those properties, make sure to keep an eye on it. There could be a good opportunity for one of those places to come up, and you might be able to get it at a steal if you're in the market for a secondary home. I should also mention on this point is that a lot of times these secondary homes are used as Airbnb properties. This could also, if you play it right, be a great opportunity to get one of those homes and use it for that fact once the market rebounds. This isn't something that I'm counting on. This is something that I've always kind of been afraid of, is that, if you use a cabin or a lake house as an investment property and you rent it out on Airbnb, you always run the risk of not being able to convert it to a long-term tenant. There's not many people or locations where you can actually do this and have it make sense. So just something to take note of. Be careful there if you are planning to do that. You could pick up a great deal if you play the opportunity the right way. This could also be your time to consider house hacking a property to reduce your own living expenses or picking up an investment deal. Again, just like people are going to be unloading their second homes or other properties, they're also probably going to be unloading their rental properties if they're not making money, right? If tenants have problems paying their rent, then all of a sudden the investor is going to be underwater if they don't have enough cash flow or reserves to cover that property, and it's going to instantly come up on the market. So there's also a great opportunity to come and get a deal like that in your market. So be on the lookout for something like that. There could be a lot of different rental properties coming up, even multifamily homes that are coming up onto the market. You might be able to get one at a great deal, especially with interest rates being so low. So I would still consider to keep your eyes on the market, keep in touch with what's going on, get connected with other investors in your market, and try to have a good feel on what's going on over these next couple of months, because this is where the true money is going to be made. You know, if you can pick up a property for $50,000 less than the actual value of it, you could be sitting on a lot of equity in that property when the market turns back around. I do believe that the market will turn back around. I don't know if it's going to be months, it could be a year, maybe 2 years, but it will come back. And if it doesn't, let's be honest, guys, you got bigger problems if it doesn't. If the stock market doesn't rebound or the housing market doesn't rebound, you're gonna have bigger problems. So I wouldn't worry about that. Just make sure that you're in a position where you've got your expenses under control and you're in a position to buy a property with enough cash flow to cover your bases and cover any maintenance or vacancy that you might have. And then you can be sitting on a really good portfolio a couple years down the line. Guys, I hope this video is helpful for you. I wanna know your thoughts on this topic. If you're interested in doing Airbnb, long-term rentals, house hacking, anything like that, please consider subscribing to the channel. We talk about all those things and money here on this channel. So subscribe, give me a thumbs up on the video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.